To be honest, it's really all about that. That's what it's all about. The hokey pokey, you know, and turning yourself around. You get yourself together, you do the hokey pokey. That's what it's all about. It's really all about harmony, all about melody. It's all about the melody and the harmony. If you think about it, that's why we got nursery rhyme. You know what I mean? It's the thing about the symmetry. You dig what I'm saying? In the tones. As I had mentioned, a fourth hand in another joint that I hadn't revisited just yet. Because, you know, once you come back to something, you want to be bringing whatever else other than it back with whatever else it is that you're going to connect to it. You dig what I mean? And that's kind of like the whole idea also of what we call syzygy, syncopation, what was it again? It was called pattern, right? Pattern, sequence, you know, momentum, inertia. You know what I mean? It's the thing about the symmetry. You dig what I'm saying? In the tone. Once you come back to something, you want to bring whatever else other than it back with whatever else it is that you're going to connect to it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the whole idea also of what we call syzygy, syncopation, what was it again? It was called pattern, right? Sequence, you know, momentum, inertia. You do what I mean? It's nothing. It's the same. Everything's nothing new under the sun, but that's under the sun. The sun is only one source of light. All light is not from the sun. There's light reflecting on the earth from other stars. You dig what I mean? The sun can't shine all the time. Half the day, ain't no light from the sun on earth. More so than any other light would be. More so. You know what I mean? Because it's too close. And that's the thing. That's kind of like the trade-off. The sun is so close to where we can turn completely away from it. And all the light will be on one side. As opposed to light reflecting from the sun off of Saturn onto Earth. Or off the moon, our moon, let alone how many moons other planets might have, let alone whatever other constellations within this galaxy and far off other galaxies. That's all light, but it's complete light, even though it may not be as much as it would be, so to speak, or rather, considering we'd be turned towards whatever else. That's sort of the situation with distance, you get what I mean? Alright, you got like a faster tone that's gonna be closer together. Alright, you got like a faster tone that's gonna be closer together. But there's less time, there's less moments between each of those components. Yes. You got diggity, I gotta dig it, I gotta dig it. It's like, okay, you can think about a lot between that, but if you go dig it out, right? And you're like, okay, I had a thought. I didn't really even realize what my thought might have been in between those two connections. But by the time I hear it again, whether it's sooner or later, this day or the next day, it's gonna make sense every time you hear it. You feel me? Because to be honest with you, right, it's a lot that goes without being said, and that's the situation. It's those those moments between the components, bridging the connections, you know. And what is our recollection or recollection? Circulating by the time we're reacquainted with the aspects of those components at those connections, yes? I.e. moments, which would be a connection of the component makes up the moments. Because moments relate to each other in a sequence or in a range of a designated design. Literally. It's symmetrical. You can even say geometrical. Literally, right? It's 360 degrees. That's possible here on this sphere. There's nothing past that. Okay? That's the full circle. That's how you get 60 seconds. That's because the square root of 360 is what? What's the square root of 360? Huh? What's the square root of 360? How do you even get the square root of something? Well, you gotta divide it by a number that gives you that number by times itself. So the square root of 49 is 7 because 7 times 7 is 49. Alright, but how do you get that reverse? It's kind of like decimals and percentages, yes. How you turn a percentage into a fraction. It's basically a reverse math. So what would be the reverse math without having to explain it backwards, like I just did to you, as far as how to get the square root of 49, only because you know 7 times 7 is 49, but if you got something difficult, like, say for instance 360, it's not so difficult, but it's not as readily familiar as would be 49, because 49 is a little bit more compact. It's a double-digit number, you know what I mean? It's not like all elaborate already, but like 360 is. The square root of 360 is probably going to be a double-digit number. You know what I mean? So, what times itself gives you 360 is a better question, or not necessarily a better question, but more of a manageable question. However, you don't want to approach things so generically all the time. You kind of have to sometimes appreciate and understand the structure as to how it even exists. You know what I mean? Kind of like calculus, kind of like algebra. Like algebra is a made up science. It's like they made different sort of scenarios in order to even apply math in ways that wouldn't be applied except for algebraically. Okay, now algebra came later, you know what I'm saying? After geometry, okay? So, I think even after calculus, algebra might have came. Algebra might have came after calculus, low-key. That's something to look into, but how it is that you get a square root without having to know, because that's what you would need to know, because you're not always going to know. You're not always going to be familiar with what we would give you. It's going to be harder to try to piece it together, plus it up. That's what I'm trying to do right now. So you got 360, right? You know, 6 going to go into that a nice even round amount of times, or 60. So 60 times 60 is going to give you 360, basically. But no, that's 60 times 6. 60 times 60 is going to give you 3,600. So you take a 0 off of 60, that's 6 times 6 is 36. Or give you 360, it's not going to be a 600. Okay, that's going to be another number, okay? You feel me? Now, how do they get 60 seconds in a minute? Well, supposedly that's the speed of light from the sun, though. But as we started off saying, the only light don't come from the sun. We got light from Venus at different intensities at different times of the year. You know what I'm saying? The thing about our distance from the Earth is always pretty constant. There's a wobble, right? To where every winter is not the same temperature. Every day of winter is not, it fluctuates, right? You have a hot winter and in 20 years have a cold winter, or 5 years have a cold winter, and it fluctuates and the next winter be super hot with the wobble. That's all based on the wobble of the axis of the Earth. which takes, I think, about 35,000 years to be in the same place. So that has to do also with the stretch of light that hits the Earth also. But that's a minute fluctuation. When it comes to Venus, that's a whole nother orbit at a different speed in different positions, in addition to whatever source of orbit and as well as rotation of our Earth. So that light is probably never the same for a longer time. And all this has to do with the position and placement of other stars / i.e. satellites in the sky, which do not change as much as, say, rotating planets do, or as fast as they do. Because see, all of space is expanding faster and faster. Since the Big Bang, it has not been slowing down. There's no entropy in space, cuz until you get to different bodies like stars and planets in relation and distant from each other, is when you have that inertia, basically, right? The time and space. But space in itself makes time only in relation to the components within the space. Okay? Which space is spreading farther away from each piece inside of space. Okay? Like wind, right? You feel me? Kind of like a wave or some shit, right? Like a ripple, basically. But it already had its own central source. All of the Big Bang / space has its own central source. But each satellite being a star or a black hole or a planet, which are the general categories, right? Types of different things that will be in space, other than other types of space itself. Is you're going to have stars. You have star dust, which that's the same thing as a star, but it's not glowing just yet all the way. So it's more like a planet because it's not illuminated, because it hasn't concentrated and charged into itself based on mass magnetization. Because see, that's the thing about mass, and that's another function that happens with space, being that it's moving and accelerating more so than at the first explosion of it. So it's a little different than matter. Because the fact about matter is it's also still energy, but it's centralized energy. It's already designated into energy to where matter itself is decay, is death, basically. Okay? So that's why everything living only lives for so long. The only thing that is infinite is space. Okay? So everything even within space is also still space though, cause the only thing that is infinite is space. So everything even within space is also still space though, cause, okay, now that's what it is that I'm even getting at. You know what I'm talking about as far as these square roots and ratios or whatever else not. Okay, now that's what it is that I'm even getting at. To a certain extent, I mean, I'm not trying to make a point. I just know what I know within my heart, and I know that I return back to this earth for a reason. And that's because people got the wrong idea. And they get the wrong idea because they're approaching the equation generically as opposed to appreciating and investigating how it exists. What made the factors, what designated the factors of this particular structured formula that is life, basically. You know what I'm saying? To live, to be breathing. Well, I mean, but what is it to live? It's to breathe. It's to think. To be awake, to be conscious, is to be alive. And even as a live organism, creature, you are breathing, right? Your brain ain't gonna work without air. You know what I'm saying? So that's the two sides of it, kind of like time and space. It's no time without space. There's space without time. It's no time without space. There's space without time. There's no life without living. And there's no living without life, which life is consciousness. Life is consciousness. Life is energy in itself. But energy is alive, which constitutes it as life, because it's alive. You ain't got no life that's not alive, but you do though. Life is energy in itself. You ain't got no life that's not alive, but you do though, right? Because all of anything that exists is still life, but everything is not necessarily alive, meaning that they're fucking thinking. You understand? And that's how it's so easy for you to get mixed up with these generic sort of standard connotations. No, you're not a person, cuz you are being, because you are still being and becoming. But if you don't, if your perception is now compartmentalized, then, you know what I'm saying, you're pretty much stamping yourself in place, basically, which nothing is stationary. Even all of space is accelerating faster and faster as it's expanding, cuz. But what's more stationary than space? Well, I mean, you know, what it is, you gotta understand it and kind of wrap your mind around the fact that even space ain't stationary, cuz. So how the fuck did that work? Well, that means that they say you can make a wormhole, bro. They make wormholes, right? They made a wormhole in space. So that means what, you at one position in space, and then you create this portal to a whole nother, you create this particular portal to a whole nother part of space. Right? This is possible to do. They say that there's many wormholes in the quantum function within our cells. Right? The cells that have the DNA in them. Any of our cells that have DNA in it, as we were saying, within a equilibrialized organism or body, is going to have this activation that happens. Okay, when you're aligning your nerves and your fluids. Alrighty, because you got particular secretions from particular glands. Now, all the glands in your body are motorized and operated, you know what I'm talking about, and directed by one particular main superior master gland. You know what I'm talking about now. This particular gland has a lens on it, just like the two of our eyes, which is why it's called a third eye. It is in the center of your business vein. You understand? Okay? Now they say it's possible, nigga, that there can be light inside your head, as well as light inside your heart. All right. Now, see, I told you last time I'm gonna show you a glowing ass fucking chest plate, nigga. I don't need drip, nigga. My ice is inside of my chest, nigga. Okay, it's glowing hotter. You understand about my ice glowing hotter, dig? Nah, I don't know if you over swigging me or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need you to sip slow. Listen, here's the situation when it comes to fluids and nerves in your body. What happens with the cells, what's supposed to be going on with your DNA before it's being now augmented, nigga, by wireless radio cellular control through nanomolecules that's been now induced into our body, introduced into our organisms now, cuz. Which is why it's important. Not to feel like it is you only this or that, you only that and this. All right? Because that's what you call conscious energy, right? That's what you call a psychic interface. Okay? Now that apparently can be tapped into materially at this point. It always could. Just like they try to say Benjamin Franklin motherfucking discovered electricity. Now that's interesting to me. Why? Because of course Benjamin Franklin is one of my favorite people. I can't have nothing bad to say about Benjamin Franklin. I need to learn his middle name. I need to know exactly what shoe size cuz wear, even though I can't get him no shoes. I just like to know things like that because it's a measure of respect. It's involved with certain particular facts of life. You know what I'm talking about? What size of shoe did Benjamin Franklin did wear anyway? Somebody know. Facts of life. And it's particular type of people that know that, cuz. To this day. Know it for nothing, cuz. Guaranteed. And the type of niggas I like to be having conversations with. Okay? Because I'm not particular up on that right at the moment. I can't even tell you what it would be. But I'm 40, bro. I'm supposed to have already learned that. I supposed to have came up at, you know what I'm saying, between martinis. Yeah, actually Benjamin Franklin wore an 8.5. It's funny because one of his foot was actually a 9. So he just had to have his shoes custom made. Yes. Much like Abraham Lincoln, he wore wooden shoes. He could only wear wooden shoes. But Benjamin Franklin didn't even discover a motherfucking thing. This nigga, it wasn't that smart like that. He was a Mason, but he wasn't one of them type of Masons that was just like a builder type Mason. He wasn't like a geometrical architect type Mason. The nigga was you know what I'm saying? Was a dark secret, underlord Mason, okay? Occult black magic Mason, all right? What it takes, man, for that, it takes the psychic interface right through the material for all that. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's all blood. Which blood is what? A motherfucking fluid. Now, what's different about this fluid? It got cells in it, nigga, that got DNA in it, you hoe-ass. What happened with the blood oath? Oh, word. Them cells got this thing that you can activate called a quantum wormhole. So you don't need to be feeling like you just this or that just because it'll make you no money not to think about it another way. Because they tell you Benjamin Franklin thought of electricity for a reason when that was a very, very important idea that changed the course of man. Facts of life. Completely. But even before that, electricity really did exist for real already, cuz. And that's not a conspiracy, cuz. That was a very, very important idea. You think they're going to be able to make pyramids and not know how to set up electrical wire? That don't make a lot of sense to me, cuz. Especially when you see spaceships on the hieroglyphs, especially when you can see evidence of lit cities, of literal wireless lighting in all of these cities, right? From magnetic lamps, from kinetic light, okay? Using crystals, right? Using gravity, cuz, to make light. Without electromagnetic radiation, which decays, okay? They was using that quantum interface, that psychic interface, you know, through the very symmetrical, geometric shapes, right? Because what it is that you can do is you can charge this energy through math, through angles, right? You bounce a light at a particular angle into a particular angle. It's going to amplify the light. Why? Because space in even itself is expanding faster and faster, right? And what is a star? It's basically an opening in space, basically. All stars start with black holes, which is a wormhole in itself. But who's to say? Well, I'm saying it to you. Because Benjamin Franklin, for sure, ain't discovered no electricity. Nikola Tesla tell you that itself. Okay, so why would they say that he did, though? It's probably the same reason they put this nigga on the biggest denominational bill, on the money. It's in that, and that for that same reason is probably the other same reason you don't know what size shoe color wear unless you do when you hear me. But shit, man, I done succeeded in life, yeah. If you know what size shoe Benjamin Franklin wear and you hearing me say this, I done did something right in my life. It's little shit like that, cuz. As far as those components to those moments, you talking about when they come back around and what you bringing with it, you know what I'm talking about? That's something you don't forget. Because it's just that applicable to the universal significance of these designations. Because everything got a purpose. Okay? And everything got a process. Okay? And it ain't for you to say what it is or what it's not. I'm talking about, especially you can't prove it, except for maybe what a denominational bill. You talking about? That's empty. That's inadequate, inefficient. Don't get me wrong, ain't nothing impossible, so you might as well be able to manage that too, right? Handle that too, but don't stop there, right? That should be the last thing, fam. That's gonna fall together if it needs to, cuz. All the components in place, right? That's a matter of angling. But see, at the same time, it's a lot of these different misaligned and discombobulated energies bouncing off each other, right? Working against each other, non-harmoniously, non-melodic, right? And that's not purposed. That's not even the look. That's not the process or the formula. It ain't. And so, I mean, if it's not, then how could it be happening? Because what is actually the formula and the process is that psychic interface, right? It's that focus, right? The whole part about life and being alive is thought, is consciousness. All of space is consciousness in itself, right? A scientist will tell you that. A physicist will literally sit up and tell your ass that. Okay, a neuroscientist, my name, a chemist will tell you that, cuz. That energy itself is consciousness, man. The same thing that our thoughts are is where energy come from. Right? Now, that connects even materially. Okay? That connects even materially. Through the same thing that energy also is and consciousness also is, which is a light. Okay? Because there's light in your body. Okay? The same gland that directs all of the rest of the functions that even create the fluids in your body has a lens on it. Okay? Now, what in the fuck is something inside of a head surrounded by? Ain't no light inside your head. Okay? Unless and unless there is light in your head at particular points. Well, probably when a person becomes illuminated or enlightened, no? I would imagine. Now, what does it take to even become illuminated or enlightened? It takes harmonious, symmetrical structure. It takes harmonious, symmetrical structure of energy. Is what it takes. Those sequences, right? Catching those patterns in a momentous, you know what I mean? It's basically, it takes not deflecting the natural course of life, of natural process. The more you don't deflect it, it's going to work in its own favor as opposed to against itself, regardless of whoever else is involved. Now, it might become a little bit more, might be more pressure. It might become a little bit more complicated as far as how much you want to include. But whatever is involved is already involved, regardless of what's included. And regardless of however else much somebody else is fighting against that or for it, the structures already exist. Okay, and anything that you're in line with is going to what is called neutralize whatever else that's not. So two people working together and working with themselves and working together. So two people working together and working with themselves and working together. It's just that much more neutralizing, you know. But where you see that at, girl? Where you see that? Where have you ever seen that? Even Adam and Eve couldn't do that. Because it was one snake when it's supposed to be two snakes, right? Beating at the top and growing wings. The plumed dragon, right? Of the Aztecs, yes? That's what that represents, is that synergy. Okay? Now, where you ever seen that at, though? But that's not stopping you as an individual singular to push it in the direction, or rather not push it, but at least guide the drift in a most universally accommodating sort of rhythm. Because you got the pattern and you got the rhythm, no? You got the pattern and you got the rhythm. And then you got the design, right? So I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place right now. What was I thinking about? What was I even telling you about? I started this off saying what exactly? How a lot goes unnoticed. It's something on my mind about this expanded space, though. Because it is really okay, even where we are right now on Earth, spinning around the sun, which the stars themselves are spinning around a center source in this galaxy, right? You got galaxies in space, but those are made up of everything that's the same thing that is in space, right? Planets, stars, and satellite/moons, whether it's a comet or a moon, or rather, a satellite/asteroids, a comet, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. It could be an asteroid belt. You know what I mean? That's still a planet. Those are little baby planets, basically. A rock is the same thing as a planet, but see, what's cold about a planet? A planet's different than, say, a rock, or a moon, or a comet, or an asteroid. Why? Because, of course, those asteroids are not necessarily alive. At the core of every planet is the same, is very similar to a star. Has that psychic interface, that quantum wormhole at the center. Now, being that it's such a magnetizing and magnetic and magnificently intense source of power, it has gravity. Just like every one of them portals within each of these microscopic cells in your body that have DNA in it, and not every cell that has DNA in it actually is activated. You might fuck around and not even have none of the portals activated, even though it might be DNA, whatever, in whatever cells. Right? It's not only DNA in only blood cells, though. So which cells got the DNA in them? Right? Because even blood cells themselves only get DNA after they go to the heart. Right? So that'll tell you right there what that glowing light within your heart has to do with anything, as well as that gland that directs the secretion of any other fluid in your body, and it being connected with kinetic quantum light or scalar wave energy, which is the 0 point energy. 0 point. Why? Because it is, of course, the source of all what is called emission, or what is that shit called? That's what they call it in the Jewish faith, or in Hebrew. It's called not an emission, the emanation. The emanation. Okay, now all of emanation come from a 0 point. This is how you get numbers. Because every number is actually 1. That's why you can only go to 10. Okay? Every number is actually only 1, because all is 1 and 1 is all. And all is emanating as an emanation. emanating. All is emanating as an emanation. Why? Because it has to come from somewhere. Regardless of where it goes or is going, it still will return eventually back to where it came. Back to where it came. It still will return eventually back to where it came or where it came from. That's an emanation, emanating. And that's the same thing happening with these wormholes within your cells. Okay? This is why these nanomolecules, these microscopic nanomolecules, which are microscopic robots, are actually model DNA strands who then actually attach itself to your already existing DNA structures and replace them with robotic DNA, basically. Why? Oh, because of course the cells with the DNA in them have a function where they create portals that weren't already there, cuz little baby microscopic portals of 0-point psychic interfaces, cuz literally, right? So listen, the planet has a big ass center 0 point. So listen, the sun is a emanating 0 point. The sun, as well as all the other stars surrounding us in this galaxy, is circulating around in the Milky Way galaxy, a source of 0 point, which is hella humongous, but not necessarily. Because the deeper you go into it, it's going to come to a 0 point, which is beyond microscopic, cuz it's subatomic. Even at the center of our galaxy, eventually. That's the same source power, cuz inside every one of your cells, my nigga. Now hijacked by robotic DNA. Why? Of course, because Benjamin Franklin did not create electricity, cuz. So why they tell us he did? Why? Of course, because Benjamin Franklin did not create electricity, cuz. Just like Isaac Newton did not discover gravity, cuz. So why they tell us he did? But he had money enough to push an agenda based on that fact of life, which is a natural occurrence, which has a purpose in itself. But if you ain't hip to the purpose, then of course you're going to be able to be influenced and misdirected, discouraged away from utilizing as well as initializing the true benefit of that fact of life. Right? Because each one of these 0 point portals within ourselves can make us float in the air, to where gravity is not so much of a threat to us. Right? Now, if we can do all of that, then we should be able to come to a point to where now we're breathing, we create our own oxygen in our own body to last us to wherever type of space travel we want to go to. We ain't got to fly through like an object, because we're not objects. Because we're not objects. Unless that's all we see ourselves as. I'm just telling you, I ain't trying to act like, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got to go to school tomorrow, or you ain't got to, you feel me, pay your bills. I'm just saying, do that too, but don't stop there and be trying to act like you cooler than niggas because you done made it that far when that's really moving backwards than a motherfucker. Which is why they told you Benjamin Franklin made electricity. We couldn't make electricity, not necessarily made it. It was, he helped to fortify the importance of it. Nah, it's all a lie. A blatant, bold-faced lie in your face. It's just why they put big-ass, blatant face on big face $100 bills. Alrighty? We should be able to make our own oxygen. Really, we ain't gotta leave this atmosphere to travel to anywhere we choose. We just gotta not be so distracted. Imagine all of us wasn't so distracted by trying to ignore each other, basically. You know what I'm saying? Get close enough to a nigga to hurt them enough for them to forgive you and shit, so that you can prove your importance and shit. Like, when like, prove your importance to who? Even to yourself? Shit, you could be wrong. That's why you gotta use other people so as to, you know what I'm saying? Better, you feel me? Convince whoever else as well as yourself. When, if it take all that, what's the point? Who it is that you important to, niggas, who made you, cuz? Who it is that you important to is who made you. Ain't now when these niggas made you, cuz. Fuck wrong with you? Who it is you important to, cuz? Who it is that you need acceptance from, approval from, niggas, the person who made you, cuz. And I'm not talking about those people who made you, cuz. People who made the 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 people who made you, cuz. And who made them. And why they couldn't get along. Okay? Because that's another blatant, bold-faced lie also. Okay? Now, you know, if you take the moment and not be so distracted with trying to ignore people, then maybe you can think about that, okay? Now, eventually, being that the sun can't shine all the time, and it's going to be on the other side of the earth completely, the least amount of light from it on earth or in your mouth or in your face, while there's zillions of other sources of light that is actually hitting the earth at different degrees and angles, right? Now, you can literally angle yourself here on earth, angle the different orifices that the light will be coming through your pores, whoopty-wop, i.e. eyes, i.e. third eye, ears, whoopty-wop, whatever. There's only so many holes in your body. You never know. They say moon gaze. You can yoni bathe. You never heard about that? About the young priestesses going to the ocean shore, nigga, in the middle of the night and whipping their yoni out and sucking up the lunar energy cut through the yoni. Cause you never heard of that, cat? That's where it's at, man. You never heard of that, my nigga? You never heard of that, my nigga? There's young tasties out there doing that right now, cuz. Yeah, I know you're trying to understand about it. No. Oh. Look, man, make my martini a double, cuz. Yeah, no, my nigga. Like, I mean, I don't know. I ain't necessarily all the way up on that, but I mean, at the same time, it make more sense than most of the shit that's legal. You know what I'm saying? That's classified and certified curriculum, you know what I'm saying, in academia. You know what I'm saying? Starting with Isaac Newton, starting with evolution, starting with Einstein's theory of relativity. You know what I mean? Which is all theory. It's all theoretical. It's all hypothetical. But there's a way so as for you to activate your own connections, is all I'm saying. Right? It's going to take you not being so distracted with ignoring people, for one. Literally. Right? Because like I said, half of the day, you're going to be able to be under some other light thinking. And that was the point I was getting at, basically. Whether with next to some priestesses and they got that yoni out at the beach or not. I just had one of the, you know what I'm saying, interject that, because I ain't even feel me. I don't want you feeling like you want to be like some type of a natural person, like a nature lover or nothing. You can always round up some priestesses and they can go soak up some lunar power. While you outside anyway, cuz. Not ignoring niggas. I'm just saying, like, I wanted to drop that on you. You probably might have not had thought about that. But, you know, it's going to take you sort of like, you know what I mean, consciously allowing yourself not to compromise, you know what I'm saying, the reach of your comprehension, right? The reach of your realization. You know what I mean? You got whatever answers, those going to lead you to other questions, right? It's very difficult though nowadays. What's interesting though is the more that you can return to those momentous components of those connections, in the patterns, because there's only so many parts of a whole. There's 360 degrees, right, to reference. There's 13 different energies on Earth, as I mentioned, right? Now, how can you recognize, right, these energies? You know, what are the elements of these energies? You know what I mean? What are you going to be doing? What angle is this? What the fuck you mean 13 energies? Well, they say it's particular energy is energy, right? But at the same time, there's this particular range of energy, right? There's higher frequencies and lower vibrations or whatever, yes? But even the low and high vibrations / frequencies, Buster Douglas, are of a particular type / nature / signature of energy, right? Which energy is vibration and frequency. Now, the pattern is that signature. Because you got digital, which is going to give you like a hexagonal sort of angular pattern. While you got analog, that's going to give you more of a wavy Sith sort of pattern. Okay? Now, you got all type of different shapes though. You got triangles, you know what I'm saying? You got rectangles. You got circles, you got ovals. You feel me? You got scenes. Yes? What else niggas got? Niggas got all these different platonic different solids, yes? But that's basically just mixtures of other different sorts of shapes. There's only so many main shapes. There's basically 3 main shapes: circles, triangles, and squares / rectangles. There's 3 sorts of shapes that you can get, other than a star, which is made up of different triangles, basically. Okay? So, a star is its own little shit, though. Star is a little special, little shape, though. Point is what? Energy signatures. And, being able to connect those different patterns into the different sequences to where it's like, okay, like I said, the more you're at it, the more neutralizing, right? The more clarifying your journeying will be. You may not be able to even remember what it is that you couldn't answer, right? Especially you're not talking to people, especially you can't continue talking without them either forgiving you or not, and that meaning whatever the fuck it means to you just naturally, just, you know, can't help some shit sometimes. You know what I mean? We all got hearts. At the same time, the heart in itself is supposed to guide you through the alchemizing of your soul, which your soul is your mind, but what the fuck is your heart if it's not your mind? They say, we all got hearts. Now, we will say emotions, that's mental. So your heart is your mind, but your mind is your soul. Okay, so what about a soul? Yeah, what about a soul? Why is the same word for soul the same word for sun? Because it got to do with light. Yes, and the angles of light. Yes, and what is called the fusing, the fucking charging of the light. Yes, the amplification of that emanation. Yes, which is most natural, as we can even see, even with the expansion of space in itself. To this day, space is going faster every time you measure it. How that's even possible? The fact that space has been expanding since that very 0 point emanation explosion means that that's a lot of business, girl. That's a lot of space, dog. It's more and more space every moment, not less. Like, right, you know what I'm saying? You got a regular sort of material sort of occurrence. That's always going to be limited, fam. It's going to have a radius. You know what I mean? Even you shoot a bullet, yeah, that shit go hella quick. But you shoot it in the air, it's going to eventually slow down. It's slowing down as fast, even as fast as it's going with that gunpowder, right? That wonderful technology, nigga. Right? That's some of the most advanced technology we got, even rockets, nigga, up down to the science in itself, cuz. Rocket science is the most advanced mathematics you can get, my nigga. And even rockets themselves, from the moment, it's the very moment in itself is the fastest it is. The blast in itself is the very fastest it is, and it slows down since there. It's the opposite, my nigga, with what's natural, cuz. With the true power, cuz. Was what the conversation was, family. Which is why they had to tell you Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity. Electricity is not a advancement, cuz. That's not an advancement. It's a means of controlling itself. Because as you already now boxing yourself into this reversed method and formula. Boxing yourself into this reversed method and formula. It's not taking into account and considering the different energy signatures. It's not taking into account the alignment of whatever sorts of patterns and modalities. Right? Because nigga, we create light within our body. So we don't need nothing else to create light, even outside of our bodies. Right? So that's the situation with focusing, right? Focusing and being able to return to those moments. Focusing. So that you can connect with the natural process, right? And it's fucked up because like, yo, like, where they doing that at? You're gonna have to always fight to involve niggas. You're gonna have to put yourself in a position to where you got Matt Benjamin Franklin's, just so you can have a place where niggas don't have to do nothing else. And even then, they're gonna need to be motivated beyond just acceptance, beyond just understanding. They're gonna have to connect with a sense of belonging, a contribution. Okay? They're going to have to consider the awakening and actualizing of their destiny. Actualizing of their destiny. Okay? Now that's so sorted at this point. It's so mixed up. Because as space is expanding, we've now been contracted into this timetable, this time phase, this actual time spell, basically, because no day is the same length, and there's not the same amount of days in every year. Another thing, that's what you call a generic standardization. Now, why would they do that? Oh, because it's more manageable. You know what I'm saying? I think it started off as innocent, to be honest, but the assumption or the acceptance of taking that route as however so innocent did not start off as an innocent implementation or you know what I'm saying, it didn't start off as an innocent obstruction or whatever. You know what I mean? It started off as a reverse of life. Basically, because life is consciousness, right? And consciousness in itself is light. But consciousness is not only light. So that's why niggas had got fucked up, because they didn't really think it all the way through. They looking at light as if, oh, whoop-de-wop, like, oh, okay, that's the end-all be-all when light comes from somewhere. But niggas was in the dark, I think. I mean, it's just the only thing that really makes sense at all. But even aside from that, as to why niggas start jumping all in the way, trying to call shots when the shots was already called, right? The shots had already been called for how long and from how long? Even when they started to be called, how did that happen? Right? Humans was either a different type of humans or wasn't humans. And whatever it was that was not humans actually end up making what we term humans now. Now, people will tell you that. But I don't believe that. Because even if it was that, somebody would have had to make those motherfucking creatures. They didn't make themselves. And they would have had to been made on a planet somewhere, if it wasn't Earth. And if they was made on Earth, and it was different from what we see as humans now, and end up making what we see as humans now, then the whole idea of a human is different now. It gives it a different spin. Because whatever those creatures are either extinct or they are still here on Earth, inside the Earth, or both. Whatever they were at that point, they may not even still be the same thing as they were. You know what I'm saying? But either way, they either left the planet or they still here on the planet. Yeah, they either left or they still here. So, we are either what they were, but different now, or started off different completely from what they were or are. Also, started off different completely. All right, so, what I believe is that, we've been intermingling with whatever was the opposite of what made those fucking amazing structures be back then. You know what I'm saying? Because there's two type of people on Earth. You got white people, you got black people. You know what I'm saying? Now, black people here been here longer than white people, okay? That's the situation, no matter how you spin it, okay? Even if you go by evolution, which is why they try to hijack science as well as history, niggas, so that they can try to pinpoint shit and jump in the way of what already had been, the shots that had already been called. But it wasn't written down. I mean, even if it was written down, they stole all their fucking writings and put them in the Vatican library, nigga. It's top secret. You can't even see it. So you can't even say what the situation is because whoever do know, they can't even tell nobody. It's a secret, nigga. It's top secret. Literally, bro. So that don't change the fact that there's black people and there's white people on this earth. Okay? At this point, ain't nobody pure-blooded, nothing. Not even the Africans. All right? Because why? When you go back all the way up into Africa, you're going to find something very particular. And I'm going to tell you what that particular thing is right now. All right? Just relax for a second. Relax. I'm going to need you to relax your mind for a minute. I'ma need you to relax your mind. Alright. Is you relaxed? Is your mind relaxed? Yeah. When you look at people with blue eyes, they come from somewhere. That's not original blue eyes. It's not. Okay, now this is the facts. This is the very fact that niggas overlook. And that's beautiful, but it's beautiful, bro. Do you know how beautiful that is, cuz? It's like saying, yeah, but what's real is real. And that's like a beautiful thing to be able to be like, okay, well, look, we can just follow the clues, follow the whole little breakdown, the avalanche, basically, nigga, because that's what ended up happening. That's where you get that. Now, some of them blue-eyed people who was fucked up in their brain was brought to Africa, to the center of Africa. Or they might even came there themselves. And they weren't necessarily taken or whatever, but it was some mingling going on. Now, how long was this mingling going on? You know what I'm saying? Because even they weren't looked at as an enemy, but they looked at it at themselves as it. Right? They would fight each other and shit. This is the situation, even with historical accounts, even with the whole fucking development of mankind and agriculture and communities. You got the caveman, and then you got the indigenous bushman, okay? Cavemen walked around not with fucking spears, brother, not with arrows, brother, not with shields, nigga. Big brute ass fucking clubs to smack niggas with. And they weren't even smacking niggas. Supposedly they were smacking the females over the head, dragging them back into the cave. This is literally the account. Literally, you think they made that up? I don't think so. Why would they make some shit like that up for? I mean, it could be made up. It could be made up. But yeah, that's basically, you feel me? How the whole little development. You got, Cass was straight up, they wasn't doing the same thing. It was two different type people. And one of the people had different type hair than another type people. Okay? You know what I mean? Now, it's no way to know what color their eyes was. But when you go up to the same area where this all supposedly would have taken place, that's where you see these icy blue eyes and white hair at. You know what I'm saying? Blonde, white skin and super bright hair, which is also beautiful in its own rights, right? Very, very beautiful. Diverse is very beautiful. They don't have nothing to do with it, nothing, but it's just the point that I'm making as far as the patterns. Literally, because it's not even about race or power. It's about life. That's what it's about. Okay? And the emanation, right? And the cycles, cuz coming back to meet each other and bringing as much with it as was best. Because at this point, whoever the evil person is or evil fucking source is, it's still nanomolecules in your fucking body, nigga. Whoever idea that was. And how clear thinking they was thinking, if they know what size Benjamin Franklin's shoes was or not. If they know what size Benjamin Franklin's shoes was or not. It's the part. And even if you got blue eyes at this moment, in this day, and happen to have blue-black skin with blue eyes, that's not nothing that you are comfortable with, because I wouldn't imagine. And I wouldn't imagine not too many other people are comfortable with it, even the ones that made it more possible, knowingly or unknowingly. There's a particular somebody that's comfortable with it, though. But even them being comfortable with it is based on them being so distracted with ignoring people also. Because we're all only human, but even our only humanness come from something more. And that's the point I'm getting to. It come from something more. Which is why we have these different instructions left down to us as to how not to get caught up in focusing too much on what is not natural or not purposed. You know what I mean? What's purposed is not only that one star, but the fact that it is what? Light. That it is a star. You know what I mean? What's purposed is not only that one star, but the fact that it is what? Light. That it is a star. That it is a star. Even the sun itself is a star. Surrounded by countless other stars. So whatever importance this light, this source of power is a claim to possess or represent, is only part of the picture. as to would be why and how it is that as these space technicians, yes, here on Earth, that put them nanomolecules in your body. But it's not for life, it's for the reversal of life, which is where we had the whole conflict to begin with. Not appreciating the light, not seeing the light for its particular fuller function as well as purpose, which is what? Is to build, is to grow, is to harmonize, as well as amplify. That's what the light is supposed to be doing, or rather supposed to link to, even with the different stars. Now hear me out, you know what I'm talking about? The sun is gonna eventually die out anyway, so it's not just about the light. It's about light, not the light, okay? And what even light is, which is an occurrence from 0 point quantum psychic source potentiality into the realm of possibility / reality, yes? Through a process which is recognizable as well as accessible, that process, which is why they give you that tree of life, which they took that from a whole nother understanding though. That however we got this Hebrew tree of life, that wasn't an original idea. Okay? However, all structure, sound of how we communicate with each other is based on that particular idea. Embellishment, basically. It's based on that copy, basically. Now, how did they get their hands on it? I don't know. I don't know how they got their hands on it. I do actually know how they got their hands on it, but if that was meant to do what it was supposed to have did or not, I'm pretty sure yes, of course, because it makes sense. You're gonna have to keep your enemies close to you, because you gotta see what the fucking evil's gonna do, because it's not even existent. It's actual destruction in itself. It's a literal destruction of what evil is. Okay, within evil is the seed of its own destruction. So you ain't gotta worry about evil. You just gotta stay the fuck from away from it, right? And keep whoever else is susceptible to succumbing to the detrimental effects of evil away from it, without stripping them of the ability to keep themselves away from it. Okay? It's like you can always put up a wall between your baby and the kitchen, but you gotta stay awake and watch that whole shit, just in case the baby climb the wall, or the wall fall on its own by some type of fluke, malfunction or whatever. Yes. The same thing goes with evil. You know what I mean? I'm saying, all you gotta do is your best to be better and create. Right? As long as you create, you're always gonna be straight. And that's the whole situation, even with these nanomolecules. They had to create that. Right? Even in destroying, you gotta create tools of destruction, which of course eventually will destroy themselves. But the element of your whole motivation is what's going to determine the reach and the range of even the material expressions of good and evil. Right? And we got life in between all of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why NIGG means to bring good to the earth and not let no good be lost. You know what I'm saying? So there was even if it was a subconscious sort of unknowing appreciation of the possibility of positivity, that was always embedded even in the original people of a particular area. right? Now you get to these different areas, it's a different story. Even the legends back then is talking about evil, talking about grotesque, illicit ass, just, you know what I mean? Just murderous, bloody shit. Literal monsters, nigga. That's some of the first stories from about that area. It's talking about flesh-eating monsters and shit. Like, what the fuck? This is the first original folklore legend, cuz. Not, the love. It was, no, nigga. Monster came out the forest, nigga. Had to go get bands of soldiers, nigga. With big ass weapons, nigga. Not, okay, yeah, I had to defend nature and learn about how to be having character and, like, you feel me? Like, it's different. It's a different type of thing. It's the same message though, basically. It's still the same message. It's just one is a little bit more rugged, a little bit more vile than the other, but probably purposely. That's just hella just rancid. I fuss with the demonic shit. You know what I'm saying? Demonic in itself is not necessarily only just negative though. Demonic in itself is just like completely just extreme and intense. Like, you know, purposely extra and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like the fullest extent, just for no reason. You know what I mean? Just all type of crazy shit, man. Like, you know what I mean? Eating niggas. Like, when you eat a nigga, like, that's because niggas had to eat. There wasn't no vegetation. Wasn't no light in that bitch. So they lost their whole, like, you know what I mean? The relationship with light all together. And it's evident. It's evident. It's like, I don't want to like push no theory, but it's like, it's evident because all of these different cultures from all around the world talk about that flood that happened. That flood came from that ice melting. Okay? Now, once the ice melted, we had these people that could finally just come out and breathe and shit. They were, you know what I mean? They was finally able to just get around. And they got around, and wasn't nobody tripping for the most part, but what they was able to collect on their own, they didn't see eye to eye, right? They didn't see blue eye to blue eye all the time, or some shit. I don't really know. But what I do know is that blue eyes come from a particular place, and there's only one type of person that got them. And no, you're not going to be born nowhere else. That came from that lack of light. Those blue eyes did. That's facts. Now, if you don't know this, then you probably don't know what size shoe Benjamin Franklin wear. So, I'm going to have a martini. You're going to have a tequila. You know what I'm saying? We going to be over here keeping it raw, focusing on what the reality is and how to utilize it in the most universally beneficial way, which sometimes you got what is called liabilities, you got collateral damage falling through the cracks. Why? Because no matter how much you wish it for some people, they're not going to be motivated, right? They're satisfied with, you know what I'm saying, getting by with just, you know, making it fit, basically. It's a challenge to evolve, you know what I mean, to expand, to advance. You know what I mean? It's literally transforming to you. But at the same time, that's the whole point. It's not supposed to be predictable. You want something that you can't expect, unexpected in your life. When you walk around talking about what works, what the fuck you mean what works? It sounds like you expect some shit to me. I am a master of the unexpected, okay? Okay, that's how I can zone into my 0 point, my nigga. And color it right up for you, cuz. And serve you a nice, bountifully flavorful plate full of 0 point, nigga, nuances, nigga. To where the very sound of my voice, nigga, will click into some shit that you didn't even realize was dormant in your own DNA, nigga. You might even fry some of them nanomolecules that didn't replace your DNA. Not even just the sound of my voice, but what it is that I did say and how it is that it made you have to think about what it is that you was ignoring. Not even just the sound of my voice, but what it is that I did say and how it is that it made you have to think about what it is that you was ignoring in your associations, in these empty ass, you know what I'm saying, with manipulative conversations that niggas are left to be having with each other based on a corrupted and detestable structure, which is going to lead to where ain't shit you can do about the fact that there's nanomolecules in the air, that can actually happen, and don't nobody bat an eyelash and still be having shit to say about another person and what another man doing in their own life, as if their opinion matter more than the fact that that's not what God wants. And us as people who are here to bring good to the earth and God's chosen people, no matter what skin color you is, and if you do God's will, that means you're the brother of another person that's doing God's will. You know what I mean? Whoever's chosen by God it go beyond the physicalities. You know, ask your boy Bob Marley, man. What was I even thinking about right now? What the fuck was I thinking about? Yeah. Tracking it back to what happened. Now, when them niggas came up out of that ice, niggas wasn't still giants, unless they still was giants. You know what I mean? It's funny because it could be a whole experiment in itself. The humans could already have been even diluted before the ice even came. You know what I mean? Ain't no telling how long humans was on Earth. Right? They got all of these different structures. That date way back before the first fossil findings of Neanderthals, as well as Cro-Magnons and all that extra shit. That go back maybe however many 100,000 years, but there's evidence of structures that carbon date way back before that had to be built by not no animals, right? So they say it's unexplainable. However, it is one of two things. It was either that it was actual humanoid beings, which we descend from, because even evolution is theoretical. They can't prove it. And that's an embellishment in itself too. They fabricate evidence to even validate the claims. Literally, scientifically, there's fabricated evidence so as to validate the theory of evolution. Just like the fabricated fact of Benjamin Franklin and his association and connection to electricity. Like Isaac Newton and gravity. Literally. We got diagrams and instructions about how to make gravity lamps and light that don't decay. Endless source of actual luminous power, nigga. Before Isaac Newton, before Benjamin Franklin, before America, nigga, before white folks. For America, nigga. Low key. Yes. They can't say where black people or white people come from. But they for sure can tell you that black folks been here longer. Yes, now that's evident, right? Why? Because of course, nigga, because it's way more of them. Okay. Right, and that's even after half of them was fucking taken out by the opposite, nigga. Right? You got white folks killing each other. Ain't no black folks killing no white folks, nigga. Only people killing white folks is white folks. Why? Because white folks killing everybody is why. So I could see if that wasn't the case and it was them same white folks that put nanomolecules in my daughter fucking DNA, huh? Put nanomolecules in my daughter fucking DNA. Huh? So what's the point though? What's the point in all that extra shit though? Well, the point is everything has a reason and a process, and none of this will be happening for nothing. is the point, is the 0 point. Literally, because me, when I started thinking about this shit, that's when I left this fucking planet. I told you I came back already, nigga, because niggas got the wrong idea. I said that earlier. I know I was speaking for like an hour and a half, but I had said that. I forgot I said that, but I just remembered it. Why? Because I don't say shit for nothing is why. Because when I make connections, like I was saying earlier, I got away from saying, because I'm really saying a lot of what I'm saying. Because it takes so much fucking explaining this shit for niggas who try to prove nothing. And still don't do what it is that it is, of course, that they think to do. Which would make the most sense to continue to do. Because you're not gonna make them. Why? Because you're not white. That's why. I'm fucking with you, man. I mean, even one person, even a white person, gotta sign up for all that. Gotta be a part of the whole little system, and that's just not fly as it was. It was just not as live as it had the potential to be. It is actually. It is, but it's not only that, you know. And what's natural actually got a nice, lovely, little flavorful function, man. If we don't fuck around and be trying to play the race card, because we don't know shit. We don't even know the whole situation. I know what I was about to say. It happened for a reason. But before I even go into the whole reason, because I'm gonna break it down for you. All right, I'm gonna break it down for you. You know what I mean? Because me, I'm an artist. I create shit. You know what I mean? you know what I mean? I formulate different sort of like, you know, interesting sort of contrasts between elements that make something. You know what I mean? It can only be so many colors, 7 colors, 7 sounds. You know what I'm saying? All that extra shit. 7, colors of sound, all that extra shit. That's the situation. It's literally mathematical, right? And that's how you can even use math to trap things like that. But it's not supposed to be meant for that. Numbers, like I said, it's all one number. Emanation into all of whatever everything is, but it's only so much of everything before it starts to repeat itself, and that's where you get the patterns and the cycles. Up to 9, and then back to 1 again, which would be the second one, which is why you put a 0 on it. Now you get to another second 1, and then you're gonna put the next number after the 1, which is it's actually not no numbers after 1. It's just more of a different kind of 1. As I was saying to you, now I'll go into that again, and for those that missed it, because that was basically all what last year's header was. Is basically understanding the nature of things, the nature of numbers, basically, which are where we get letters from. Because there's only so many tones, right? There's only so many tones that you can even say. So, first of all, the tones were already pre-designated before they were redesignated, and basically by this second type of person. Okay? Now, ever since then, our set has been shrinking and not expanding, right? Whoever made them pyramids wasn't speaking the same kind of way that we are, whether it was, you know what I mean, whether they was utilizing or designating or arranging the different tones, the same amount of tones, or they was able to access a different number of tones. Or if they was even saying shit out loud to each other at all for any particular reason, which I wouldn't imagine they would need to. Because even to this day, you could do telepathy. To this day. Right? So, this whole reason why we even talking to each other don't make no sense. Even whatever we saying to each other, like, that, you know what, the fact that I'm even saying this to you is bad luck for me. You know why? Because, as I was just mentioning to you, the purpose of life is already divinely ordered. Me, I have disagreements with myself in the realms of remaining faithful. Because, you know what I'm saying, as a faithful servant, a faithful initiate, devotee to light, to love, to God, to life, you understand that it's not about your preferences. It's not about what it is that you desire. It's about desire in itself. It's about sovereignty and structure. Right? You wouldn't have been born if it wasn't for life to begin with. Now, the fact that you've experienced anything is all thanks to God, and it belongs to God because that's where it comes from. Right? And you would live your life so well enough, hopefully, to be able to even not signaturize, but at least accommodate the beautiful opportunity to steward what is God's, to take care of, or at least protect, or guard, you know what I mean, from the detriment that the same you that you are could do to it. Even halfway adequately, in our limited understanding as well as comprehension of the fuller picture. But even within our lifetime, how long that may be, we still have another opportunity, and in the same opportunity, to expand our connection as well as exposure to activating the very process, the very actual inertia and pattern and sequence and rhythm, so as to amplify that emanation. Literally. I don't know if that connects with you. But as far as even saying anything about it, that's automatically already limiting it. It's got its function, it's got its benefits to a certain extent, but those benefits in themselves, with patience and faith, right? And what is called discipline, and remaining neutral, remaining modest, yes, remaining a testament to the glory of our Creator, of the very source of all life to begin with, and the originator of the very purpose and process. Whatever it is you would have to say about it, and whatever it is you are saying about it, it's for you to say right back at God in silence. And that would make it that much more better, 100 times more better than ever mentioning it to anybody. It's the facts. It's something I realized as a poet, right? As an orator, okay? But I'm also a villain, a vanquisher, nigga. A straight rapscallion, miscreant, nigga. So that's the part of me that don't give no type fucks, and it's that unpredictability and unexpected sort of element that I also explore in my exploring the amplification of the emanation, if you understand what I'm telling you. But you can't be feeling like, oh, whoop-de-wop, like you got some shit figured out, or you know better than somebody else. Ain't no such thing as knowing better than another nigga. That's why they tell you to know yourself. Right, now whatever it is you're gonna share, understand, like I said, that's an oath you taking. It's got its own pattern already involved with even just the very sound of it. Down to the selection of tones involved with what makes it possible to be comprehended. And whatever it is you're gonna share, understand, like I said, that's an oath you taking. It's got its own pattern already involved with even just the very sound of it. Down to the selection of tones involved with what makes it possible to be comprehended. Was decided by another man when God got his own language. Okay? God got his own language. You never heard God say nothing. God got his own language. You never heard God say nothing. So whatever you say God said, I can only half hear that. I can only half hear that. I can only half hear that, cuz. Kendrick said it himself. I'm supposed to listen when I don't even hear God. That was one of my favorite lines by Kenny. That's one of my, I was like, yeah, that though. It's like so subtle, like, you know what I mean? But it's like, you still gotta go through the rest of the album. You know what I mean? I gotta go through, but the rest of the album is still just as, I guess you could say, interesting. And that's the whole part about hip-hop. It's half and half, you feel me? And that's the situation. We still going through this whole situation. And that's why it's two sides of the story already. Because we still gotta finish the rest of the other half of the story. You know what I mean? That's what this whole space exploration is even in. Ain't nothing that's gonna be able to be done to stop it, except for, of course, your own personal activation, except for, of course, your own personal activation of the amplification of those very emanation in itself. That means staying as thoroughly organic in your associations as well as your appreciations and involvements, right? Interactions, or I said interactions, but not just necessarily with other people, with nature itself, with time, with light, with sound, you know what I mean? And not for no reason outside of the beauty of it and the glory of life, the beauty of life and the glory, not what you understand life to be, but all of what it can be that would be also delightful, also positive, literally, you know. And that take responsibility. It take being in a position to be able to say, but the more you are able to say, the less probably you should be saying. Is a whole nother flip too. It's interesting. It really is interesting. The whole point though is, that's a lot that I don't say already. I'm at the point where I'm saying what I'm saying to you based on all that I've already not said. This is what I can say that I already haven't not said. Or rather, that I've already not said, basically. You know what I mean? Like, even when I tell you about all of this, it's not going to change what has to be done. And the fact that it's either going to be done or it's not going to be done, it just might fluctuate how soon or how later for some people. And that's a trade-off I'm willing to risk. Because I believe in art. I believe in miracles, nigga. I believe in miracles. I do. Hold on, man. I believe in miracles, nigga. Either way it go. It's some real dark. Some dark, shadowy shit involved. I mean, it's not like hella crazy yet. Because see, what's interesting is like, it's either meant to be or it's not. But even if it's not meant to be, it's still part of divine order, and that is even possible. But see, at the same time, just because whatever is possible, don't mean that it's also whatever else is also possible. And that's the thing about even destiny and even divine order is, and also all-knowing. Like, you think about God and how God is all-knowing and knows what's going to happen before it happens, knows everything about what a person will choose. But that's because that awareness in itself is aware of all that is involved. Not even to say that you can only do this because it's destined for you to do it, but being that it is an option, you're either going to do that or whatever else is an option. And that's the situation that I'm thinking about, why I even mention what it is I'm mentioning, right? Because it's very interesting. What's one thing that's interesting to me, right? Walk with me through a few points very fast. One thing that's interesting is the fact that humans, as we know them today, as we know ourselves to be today, were created. However the fuck they was created, whether it was directly right up out of the ground by God himself or herself, or whatever God is, made another creature that made us, or made whatever end up making creatures, whether it was another creature or whatever type of entity or existence, whether it was a planet or the fucking thought being or whatever it was that made what made us. If it wasn't God directly making us in his image to begin with, from the beginning, which is possible, which is also impossible, which it could be possible or could not be possible. The situation is whatever is possible, and even in it being possible, there's also whatever else possible that didn't happen or is still yet to have happened, or is not yet all the way is or not happening until it does or doesn't happen. For one, but that's not even the point. What's interesting to me is that it took us being made for any of this to be happening. Nigga, here on Earth, okay? Yes, which is amazing to me, yes, because it's many planets in the universe. You know what I mean? It's many star systems, okay? Right? And consciousness, or rather energy, is consciousness in itself, and consciousness, of course, is thought. And our minds, our /souls, /hearts, is what directs the very existence, or rather energy that is energy, through the very things that we think, that we say, that we do, and how we say it, and when and why. So what's interesting, one thing at one point, is that it's interesting to me, before I forget whatever else I was thinking about, which I don't think I will. This shit is real. Like, they say that there's people in graves right now that died after the vaccination, that have been vaccinated, that are emanating a particular frequency that nobody else that was not vaccinated, that died after being vaccinated, is emitting. And it's a radio type signal they can trace back to Microsoft and shit. Like, that's what they say. They already know that we can also see that there's coagulation, synthesizing of our artery linings, making it to where basically our very veins and arteries are becoming like conduits to like, what do you call that shit, like Wi-Fi, what do you call that shit, that ether line or whatever you call that shit, internet basically, fiber optic, to where it's like it's more conducive to move metallic elements. As I was mentioning about these nanomolecules, they're actually microscopic robots. And this is reality. Like, this is all in the food, all in the crops, through chemtrails that they spraying all over the world. That's how it gets everywhere. They put it in the ocean, so it's in everybody, even without the COVID. But the thing about the COVID is, and I was just seeing some shit that really blew my mind right now, about how in one syringe they're gonna have hundreds of billions different nanomolecules, nanomolecules, which take the place of your DNA. That's really microscopic, brother. hundreds of billions in one syringe. That's what they put in. That's what they put in that vaccination, girl. It makes sense to me. I mean, everybody know COVID ain't real. Like, so what would be the whole point of this shit? Other than just basically to show you there's nothing you can do, even though there is something that you can do, but who all know that there's even anything that they can do, and it's gonna do it so that they can go ahead and put whatever other type of fluid in them eventually, even if it's not immediately, because they already got the angle. You know what I'm saying? They already got the advantage to where even if we begin to stand up, and not only just wake up, but speak up for our own human rights, to where we say, okay, we are our own sovereign nation in ourselves, and we will not allow you to put that in us manually, even though it's already in the air everywhere. It's not as concentrated as those shots was, but it didn't matter. That was just for who took them. And with who did take them, that's going to be another part of some other shit. That's why they say that it's people that is buried that is emanating this particular type of radiation type shit. Right? This whole nother type of strong, because it's like all through that shit. It's interfacing with that actual function that happens with the quantum psychic portal wormhole that is created in every one of our cells. Isn't it amazing how, like, what I'm saying to you, I'm probably not even tripping, because how eloquently articulated it is, and I'm even explaining the fact that the basic shit I'm saying to you. Well, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't say shit for nothing. I mean, I know my 0 point. I'm well acquainted with it, because when it comes to intuition, you know, I mean, I have all the particulars ironed out in my mind, because of course, niggas are very, very frightened right now. Motherfuckers are frightened, but that's nothing, my nigga. You never seen God work before? And that's what I'm saying is happening. This is God working. Now, it gets, you know what I'm saying? You gotta bump it up. You gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta step your game up. You feel me? You start off as whatever it is you are, but then you become a elder, cuz what's supposed to happen? Cuz what's wrong with you? You don't stay no student your whole life, nigga. I've been an elder since I was a young nigga, cuz. And what do an elder do? Shit, an elder do what a nigga come with, nigga, with solutions is what an elder do, cuz. How you think you supposed to get wisdom, shit, nigga? Mistakes, nigga? How you get wisdom, nigga? The fuck? So you can't be doing what's safe and what you know gonna work, cuz. You gotta make mistakes in order to have wisdom, cuz. Otherwise your ass is just smart, which ain't smart to just be smart. You don't never make no mistakes. You ain't got no wisdom, cuz. So that means doing more of whatever the fuck it is you doing that you ain't done already, cuz. Not this repetitive ass, you feel me? Loop, like I was telling you about. But what's interesting to me, beautiful to me, I had to start this now. It's an amazing thought. It's marvelous. Right? Even with CERN and Meta and all this extra shit, they still needed us to do it, cuz. Right? So that means that there's a bigger plan, right? There's obviously, not to say that there's not obviously a bigger plan. There's always, yeah, much we don't see, and it's going to get a lot wilder and wackier as it unfolds because of, like I said, that dark element of it, or origin of the actual motive behind most of the way that it's been approached, the way that it's actually been materialized as opposed to manifested. But there's still manifestation happening through the materialization that of course is occurring also. So that's nothing you can't get around. That's one of the things you can't get around. It's the fact that materialization is one thing and the manifestation is another thing. The manifestation of something is now realized or expressed through materialization, as I was just explaining to you, right? Manifestation. through cultivation into materialization. Now, that's happening universally, unconsciously, through everyone's life. And in, not necessarily so, but sometimes necessarily so, yes and no, in people's life, but always through people's lives, right? Due to their own influence or not, or according to their own influence or not, or both. But either way, some things are out of your hands. But not everything. And in fact, nothing actually is, except for what it is, of course, that you don't grab, that you don't, or that you drop, or that you let go of, or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? That you ain't focused on, or that you forget about, or that you are confused about, or don't connect all the way, for whatever reason. Either you stop or you're stopped. And that's what this is. It's a barricade. It's an obstruction. It's an interference of what really is a situation for us to be doing. Because they had to go through us to begin with. Right? So that means what? That perhaps God don't even know what the fuck God doing. Right? And it's finding out through us. Through the materialization that is us, as the manifestation of what will be. You know what I'm saying? But whatever it will be, it's possible for it to be many things, for one. So that's why it's important for me to say, you know what? I trust that it's going to be what it need to be. But at the same time, whatever it need to be still gotta be through us either way. Whatever it need to be still gotta be through us either way. At least for now. Whatever end up happening with the generations to come, perhaps all these nanomolecules has something to do with that. As far as anything we would say about it even having any significance at any other time except for right now. Well, that's the whole point. Now always is significant to always. Has always been significant to always. Except for this other bridge where we was coming out of, where the average person, the average being realized that, whether it was subconscious or not. And through the dark ages, through all of the enlightenment, renaissance, industrial revolutions and all these other things, scientific revolutions, which was all basically mixed up and reversed, because even the scientific revolution was a fabrication. You know what I'm saying? Was an embellishment, was a fabrication. Was a misalignment of what was already known back in the day when they first made geometry, when they first did with physics what they started now to study in order to label physics as. Okay, but now we're back to that fucking connection point now. We then came back to that component of that momentum now. But what are we bringing with it? Are we bringing with it the fact that God made us for a reason? Okay, was that reason so as does He even know the reason? You know what I'm saying? And even if God knows, is it only one reason? Right? And is it only up to Him? Well, if it was only up to Him, then what the fuck He got us doing it for? You know what I'm saying? What do you need my daughter DNA for? You know what I'm saying? So, as far as that's concerned, it ain't only up to God. You know what I'm saying? So, that's one thought I had. The other thought I had, right, is because all of this shit is extremely interesting, right? You want to liven it up. You want to keep it hella active. You know what I'm saying? And unpredictable. and surprising and exciting and invigorating. You know, so it's like, that's why it's going to get kind of drastic sometimes. That's what we seeing. Control's like, you ain't moving on it. You ain't talking about nothing. But we can go do what, the wildest thing that come to mind over here, just to see what happened. You know, because you know what I mean. It don't matter to most people anyway. Outside of them complaining about not being able to control it, when they are able to control it, just like we can put ourselves in control by applying ourselves in whatever type of structure that was, you know what I mean, already effective, and not at least succumbing to complacency to where it was, you know, enough for then. But a lot of that has to do with morality. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that has to do with modesty, but not all of it though. Some of it has to do with resentment. Some of it has to do with spite. Some of it has to do with jealousy. See? And hate. That's to say, you know what? They think they know, but we'll show them that they need us. And by the time they realize that, all that we could have done, it will be too late for that. And they're going to regret. Just like I regret feeling how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Situation. Because I can't be you. Even though if I was you, I wouldn't be so sensitive. You feel me? Like me, I can only keep my eye on so much. You know? And me, I'd rather go farther together than faster by myself. But we don't have all that time all the time. And that's what the separation, the segregation creates, is those missed components, you know what I mean, in the moments. You know what I mean? As I always say, and I always believe, God is all of us together on one accord. Or God is a man and a woman on one accord. That's how you get life. That's how you get life. See? So the other part that I thought to myself was about, you know, in the beginning. Right? They gave you an explanation as to what happened in the beginning, but that wasn't the beginning. That was, what they want to be able to say so that they can have something to say, basically. Which is noble in its own rights, but don't, you know what I mean? You gotta understand that it's all for entertainment purposes, basically. You know? And it takes that eldership and even get to that point to realize that. Not necessarily realize it, you can know that from the beginning, you can sense it, but it's still there. Just like math and electricity. Just like math and electricity. But until you create something else other than electricity, then you're going to have radiation. You're always going to be subjected to that limited experience and exposure. And it takes togetherness for that, for one. Or it takes extreme discipline and sacrifice as an individual. Sacrifice of just being able to just, you know, move through life at a natural rhythm. It takes you having to do more than what one is actually doing. It takes you thinking for other people. Because that's how we got to the point we at. We have fools thinking for other people. And when did that happen? When you got people thinking for other people. That's not natural. That's not natural. Even from the dawn of time, you had man and man. You didn't have man and rulers. Now, when did this rulership begin? Where you got people thinking for other people, as opposed to thinking together as people. I don't know, but that was what was on my mind as part of the second point that I was thinking about. The point that I was thinking about basically was, you know, when it comes to humans or whatever, right? This could all just be, I really feel like it's really just like an experience. It's kind of fucked up to think about, like, damn, all I am is just a fucking prop and shit. Ain't shit I could do, but that's not even the fact. I never be feeling like that because I'm humble. I know that for me to be able to do anything is a blessing, cause like, what the fuck you mean? Like, you can't be feeling like that. That's the first thing, that's the first mistake you're making. And that's obviously how niggas feel. Like, oh shit, you, all we could do, what you mean all you could do? Cause you can do anything. You could literally do anything. And then something else after that, cuz. Do you know it's people alive today, cuz? Paralyzed, nigga? People born, cuz, blind. These kids on Earth, nigga, ain't never wear a pair of shoes, cuz. All we could do. That's not all you can do, cuz. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel a way about all you can do. And a part of you know that and then want to look at me like what I'm going to do about it. But shit, man, well, let me think about all I'm going to do about it. Because to do anything is everything. For one, cuz. So let me stall you out, cuz. And do more than I can do. Cause I be doing a lot, nigga, not doing shit. But realizing, cuz that's a blessing. Realizing in my heart and mind and soul and spirit, nigga, that that's all that need to happen. And if it ain't, then I'm gonna do whatever I can in regards to whatever's missing. And be grateful for that. It's a certain type of people that's still left on this earth who take that approach. And I commend you and I salute you. And I'm not condemning or judging nobody else who may not agree or do their own thing their own way. What I am saying is however, whatever it is that's going on, this is not the beginning and it's not the end. Right? And that's another reason why people just say, whatever, just you do, you know what I mean, do what you can do. All you can do is live your life. Okay, but that goes without saying. That's automatically an understood acceptance. And that's also part of the beauty of it to a certain extent, that actually is infinite as well as unlimited. Okay? Beyond whatever it is that you know about or going to be able to say right now. Okay? Because your life is not definite. Okay? To be born mean that you die. But that's not all that it means, cuz. That's not all that it means, cuz. In fact, that's only one thing out of all the things that it means. And it's very hurtful, man, to me to have to, like, encounter that sort of atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, yeah, whatever, whoop-de-wop. You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do to change it? Like, nah, man, it's about not doing something to perpetuate it. You know what I'm saying? It's about not doing what it takes to standardize it, basically. You know what I mean? To certify its protocol, basically. And so that's just what you gotta be careful with. You know what I mean? You gotta be thoughtful about. right? Because you're going to be thinking about one thing or the next either way. But if you're thoughtful about the fact that you want to be careful as to not to be mixing up your conscious energy with anything that is so damning, right, to your reach as well as expansion, for whatever, for any reason, whatever the reason is, just nigga move in another zone, take a different type of spin out on it. Simple. It's fucked up because we end up involving other people or depending on other people because, hey, if you don't do it how you would like to be able to do it, to be able to say so, which is going to basically mean that you didn't made whatever type of amount of money by a particular time in your life, then that means shit, man, you got to go to somebody else for whatever sorts of answers or activity or results, basically. Not necessarily you got to go to any one other someone else, but there's just going to be people involved. There's just going to be more people involved that are either going to agree with life being definite or not. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Outside of your own kids. It's a part, nigga. And that's the game. That's where they got us at. Right? What people thinking for other people, basically. As opposed to all of us thinking for each other and with each other. Right? At what point is any other person more eligible to make a decision if there's other people that's not disabled? You know what I'm saying? Paralyzed from the brain down and actually mentally disabled, or, you know what I'm saying, consciously impaired. And, you know what I mean? Even if they physically got ailments, that's even more flair. Everybody got working brains out this bitch. Will make any other person a more genius than the next nigga. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just ambition, man. Simple as that. And why don't anybody ambition match to that point just for starters? Well, because it's a control system that we subjected to. Where did that start? Where it started back after history, right? With the mixture of these two types of people is what happened. Now, where did these two types of people come from? Different parts of the earth, right? They say life began in one place, right? And one other thing I thought of, just remembering, the north is actually the south. If you look at Antarctica, that's actually the north. Underneath the earth is actually the north. Because once you cross the equator, then that's going back up north. You go back towards the center of the bevel of the earth, which would be the latitude equator. Then you start going back up north again. There is really no south. There's just two norths. But when you're in Africa, which first of all, there's inner earth, okay? There's entrances into inner earth at both the poles, and in Africa and in the Amazon. Or at least there was one in the Amazon, maybe not. I'm not sure if there's one in the Amazon for sure. I know it's definitely one in Russia too, though. Right? Because these are the largest masses of Earth. You know what I'm saying? All of the Earth used to be connected. This is the situation. This is what I know, nigga, my soul and my spirit. I didn't dreamt about it. And I didn't realize about it. I done wrote about this. I got comic books about this. Graphic novels. I got erotic graphic novels about this. There's definitely inner Earth now. Yeah, they say, nigga, there's two oceans, nigga, within the earth. Underneath the ocean, there's oceans. Okay? Now, how much sun does these oceans get in, though? You know, right? I don't know. There's light inside the earth because, nigga, even by the time lava come out to the surface of the earth, it's still glowing light. Right? And the sun ain't shit but burning gas either. So that's what light is in itself. Is motion, activity, pressure. Is that 0 point emanation? Okay, so either way though. However we get humans, because of this, either one thing or the other that happened. You got these other type of superhuman beings who was all over the earth, which would be evident by all these different structures you see all over the earth, that can't be reduplicated by whatever type of fucking humans he is now. Yes? Maybe it was less of them than it is now, of the dumbed down watery humans than it is now. I don't know. Maybe it was more. Maybe they was giants, maybe they wasn't. Maybe some of them was giants, some of them wasn't giants. Maybe the ones that got trapped in the ice end up shrinking because they was in the ice for a long time, right? And it wasn't no portals into the inner earth from where they was at. It wasn't. They wasn't supposed to have been where they was at. Maybe this is possible. This they say could happen, but it's actually scientific evidence that this is actually happening, niggas. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, man. Because you got the white folks, man. They not them. The sun don't agree with them, cuz. The sun don't agree with them, cuz. And that's the whole situation. Why they attacking? It makes a lot of sense because at the same time, it's like all these more people. So they just start going around trying to, survive and shit. But they didn't have to do all that. But, pride is a bitch. Pride is a bitch. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, cuz I don't need your help. I think I'm gonna murk your ass. No, the fuck you not. Unless you come up with some type of super diabolical weapon, nigga. Instead of doing what else you could be doing, because anything's possible. Destiny is destiny. But destiny is very wide, cuz. Either way, cuz, evil gonna destroy itself. So whatever your motive is, right, there's nothing to be afraid of. Because one other thing that I always do say, and this is another third point, and part of the second point of it's actually what it is in the third point. This earth will not always be here anyway. Right? And I said this before. However, don't think so small. It's not only one way that you can get the fuck up off this earth, you fool-ass buckethead. You gotta understand and realize that you're not doing what it is that you know you should do. You're taking a different route. Now, whatever the motive is will determine the reach and range. Now, whatever the motive is will determine the reach and range. It's all it is. Now, there's good meaning scientists. There's good meaning astrophysicists. They feel like we need alternatives. We got alternatives. Cause you go sit your ass down long enough, cause you gonna be doing more good than you would ever expect. I'm telling you the truth. This is the situation. This is what all the yogis will tell you. This is what all the original fucking niggas will tell you. However, that's not so exciting. I'm not even gonna front like it's not exciting. It's extremely exciting. In fact, all of this tangible exterior stimulation, as we can see, is extremely empty, and that's how niggas be walking around with all these feelings. You know what I'm saying? Going out their way to distract themselves, ignoring people. Is another part also. It's not organic when it's organic. And then you have the added element of other people also. Cause that's some of that miraculous. And see, that's the situation. You can't get around other people. Yeah. Why would you make a device when there's already other components, i.e. organic people? Right? We're taking a singularized personal experience and trying to apply it across personalities, across individual emanations, basically, which we can share the same thoughts through focus, through actual serenity, right? If there, you know what I mean? If it wasn't smog, if it wasn't nanomolecules in the air, if it wasn't halogen lights, then we would actually connect on that level. And whatever it is you would take a computer and device to create digitally or visually, you can do even faster with your own imagination and have people seeing what it is. But they would be able to probably be able to connect to your secrets a little faster too. They would know, you know what I mean? They'll be able to sense, even if it is that they can't say or remember the actual occurrence in itself. They'll be able to, you know what I mean? They'll be able to intuit the nature of what it is you're trying to hide from them. Or would be ashamed about that might have occurred in your life, that you done or seen done or experienced, or wish you hadn't experienced, or whatever the fuck it is the situation. Is a situation. It's those secrets that's keeping that from happening as to why you would have to go through these metallic devices now. That's the situation. Right? If you're going to go that route, then we might as well lay it all out on the table. Because that's whack. That's actually more dangerous without what will be called transparency. You know, we have in these transpersonal, transcendental exposures and experiences without the transparency. In fact, you can't tell the difference between it. You can be having a romantic relationship with a computer. Which that's not the way it's supposed to go. You get a mind from a human, right? You don't get thoughts from what a human makes. You know what I'm saying? That's not the way to go with that. So, what does that have to do with anything? Like I said, the earth won't always be here. Okay? So that's why there's like this sort of urgent sort of fright or whatever, sort of anxiety about what can be done about life, because we're not even supposed to be dying. Otherwise, why would you be tripping so hard? Like, oh, what are we gonna do about the future? Fuck, doesn't matter. Oh, because we got kids? Okay, that's true. That's very true, yeah. Nigga, let them worry about that shit. And that's what that's actually really going on. That's what you actually see it end up being at the end of the day. Low key. Because it's not all the way thought out thoroughly, like, you know, naturally. It's not always naturally thought out. And so it can only be, it's always going to be shrinking, first of all. And it's not nothing you can do about that, except for, of course, what it is for you to do. Which everybody knows that, but you still got the situation with these races, basically. You got the situation with these races, and that's unexplained so far. Because of secrets, for one, and because of fear as to what can be done with the power once niggas agree, more so, because it's going to take us agreeing on one thing or the next. We're either going to agree on this is the direction we're going to take, just synthesize that shit and trust that it's going to work out how it needs to. We don't have no choice for it to work out except for how it needs to, because however it works out is going to be how it works out. And that's the way God made it. Whether you believe in God or not, shit, whatever it is that's going on, even if it wasn't nothing that made it, it's going to do what it's going to do, right? And it's only so many things possible, regardless. So that's where we come in at anyway. And that's where us agreeing on whatever it is that we decide is important. That's where what we agreeing on, what we decide, is that much more, even more important. Even if it's even more important if it's no God. That we agree on what we decide, regardless. Because we gonna decide, you gonna decide, I'm gonna decide, but are we going to agree on what we all decide? Well, it may not matter because shit, man, at the end of the day, you come starve us. You're gonna put the fucking molecules in our body anyway. Yeah, but us not agreeing has stronger implications, fam. Because there's never no reason not to agree. Except for the wrong reason. When it comes to humanity and the purpose of life, right? You gotta live in order to experience anything. And that's why I say it's the reversal of life, cause from the beginning, it's misinterpreted. There's a big confusion as to fuller reach and range, as well as beauty of the light. Right? It's different. It's different. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying ugliness is beauty in itself, right? But it's all about the focus. It's all about the focus. You know, the point where I was thinking is inner earth. Right? Now, there is the original, whatever fucking shit is, in the closer to the core of the earth. Most of the earth is underneath the surface of the earth. Right? The surface of the earth is only so much mass in itself as the surface of the earth. That's all we got is the surface of the earth. But within or just below the surface of the earth, nigga, going towards the core of the earth, is way more earth than the surface of the earth. Okay, now that earth is inhabited, homie. You think it's not? Why would it not be? To just assume that it isn't is a lot to assume. Especially being that, okay, we are one type of species of person on this earth. The only thinking, moving humanoid species currently, even though we find in bones from other types of, in the very layers of the crust of the earth, even up on the surface, closer to the surface of the earth, which there's kilometers of, I mean, nobody ever been to the course of the earth, okay? So we can't say what type of creatures it would be. The type of creatures we find, and even in some, from recent sort of historical periods, are more animalistic than we are. Yes? So who's to say? The deeper you go, the more freakish it gets. Okay, now, whatever those, who's to say that not all of them was dumb, was using rock tools. Okay? So we don't know. We don't know. But we can say that it's got to be one thing or the next thing. And agree on that. And that will get us further than just leaving it as if it's insignificant. When we don't know where we're going and we don't know where we came from. Right? And so far it's been some sort of diabolical sort of, you know what I'm saying? What do you call it? Development so far. Yes? As far as like the grotesque sort of perversion of thought in itself. Yes? The consciousness has been molested, basically. Right? And that's not looking like it's finna improve. Okay? So I can see if it wasn't based on some bitch ass empty shit, that's actually sort of like unhealthy. It's actually a sickness. It's not connecting with the original sort of format for life. Where you get life from a process. We're getting further away from that process the more we're exploring these different alternatives is the situation. In fact, a lot of the even possibilities, a lot of the different alternative sort of factors come out of that disconnection. You get what I'm saying? So that's just why I'm like, okay, yeah, it can go that way, especially if we don't take it another way. But either way, it's going to last only for so long. And then we're going to still be left with whatever else to do. So, me saying this out loud, ain't no telling. You feel me? Ain't nobody else said it just yet. You know, but thinking it is enough, right? To even begin to consider, you know what I'm saying, is very powerful. And even to think of it, but it's going to be even that much more important, fam, to be thinking and not talking. We have those representatives, cuz, we have those spokespersons, cuz, but we still need to be thinking and not speaking on what it is that we realize to be true and building on it through the challenging attack that is even remembering to revisit it outside of turning up, outside of these alternative sort of inquisitiveness. You know what I mean? Just kind of like seeing what nothing even is. Right? By the time you get back, nigga, it's already next year. You feel me? We already missed our vaccination. Right? We'd already been vaccinated with 100 billion nanobites in one syringe. Right? Because of course we was just, you know, letting it should take its course because you don't want to overdo things or you don't want to ask too much out of life. Yo. Come on, man. We gotta be saying, be able to be not saying what it is that we are saying also. And that's hard because people like take shit so serious, for one. People also always want to hold you against, like want to try to, you know what I'm saying, hold you up against what it is you say as if you can't change your mind and shit. Like, yo, man, I change my mind all the time. It's not like I'm trying to be right. It's just that, nigga, I feel enough. I realize things. I'm growing, you know what I mean? I'm changing every day. And we supposed to be learning more, and that's the whole part. Like, the fears got us where we don't even branch off into different areas of our connections because that's going to reveal where it is that we're actually pretending, where we're actually, you know what I mean, supplementing and with these alternatives so as to distract ourselves from ignoring each other and shit. Literally, though. Why? Because secrets, because of course by the time you get down to the nitty gritty, you get all the way open with your shit, you're going to need all new friends and everybody know everybody at this point. So now it's like, shit, you got to give up now. Give a fuck about a friend. Like I said, nigga, who it is that you're trying to impress. If it ain't who made you, then you tripping. If it ain't, you feel me? Who you need acceptance from? Who you need approval from? If it ain't who made you, cause ain't none of these niggas made you. So, yeah, so what? That you can't go nowhere and everybody be able to know who you is just because you exist and shit at this point. Even though you ain't met them and shit, like, that's for that. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit, cuz. You don't know me, cuz. Especially you when right there next to me, cuz. Getting shot at, nigga. Shooting at niggas. You don't know me, nigga. You ain't never hit no licks, nigga. You feel me? If you ain't never, nigga, knock the nigga out, nigga. You don't know me, nigga. Okay? If you ain't never, nigga, made, nigga, flip, nigga, you don't know me, nigga. Fuck what you know about me. And you ain't gonna know me the more you faking, cuz, around me. If we can't be real with each other, then that's just the less we even know ourselves. It's the whole part. Which is why I'm not saying I don't want to get to know you, but I ain't trying to show you shit. Cause we all being shown, okay? We all being shown. Unless you hiding, okay? I ain't hiding from nobody. I ain't hiding from nobody, hell. If we gotta walk around in dangerous shit, nigga, that just need to change until we can get to a level to where we can begin to build back to where we are and digress from. That's the part, right? And that go for all of our family and generations to come, cuz. So it's not really a lot of time to dance around it. You know what I'm saying? It's 100 billion in each syringe, nanomolecules. Already. Real talk. So that mean what? That mean, okay, well, what you think it is? What you heard about it? They say, what had happened now? When did this happen? Well, shit, man, they say, who's supposed to have been seeing these extra oceans up under the ocean? What organization is that said that? How much validity is to that? Was that on the news? Oh, no, I ain't got cable. Word? Okay, no, so I ain't even got the internet. I mean, I be having internet, but a lot of times I just be, you know what I mean? I be on Instagram a lot of times. I don't even be reading about a lot of shit because I don't be wanting to seem like I don't know about shit or whatever. Or that, you feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not included or whatever. Because I need to know myself, and I can't know myself without actually being able to be real and shit. So it's like, I be having to dance this whole little between these lines. Cause I need to stay real, right? And if I'm real, then that means I'm gonna have to be at opposition with niggas, and then, you know, then that's gonna become a problem that I'm gonna have to handle, or I'm gonna have to fake about, and then that's gonna be less chance for me to be more real. So I gotta be real. So I don't have no problem with big ass titties, and you know what I'm saying. And fellatio, I don't have no problem with that. I don't understand why anyone would ever have a problem with anyone that would have a problem with that, but I guess that's a conversation for another time, I suppose. I mean, I'm being real. I mean, I care about other things too, and that's real. But shit moving so fast, man. Everything is moving so fast. This universe is expanding, man. This universe is expanding. So, whatever humans is now is either a watered down version of what was already here on Earth. Which the Earth will not always be here and wasn't even always here. The Earth used to circulate Saturn. This very Earth was already created before the sun came into existence, or came close enough to the Earth in order to suck it up into its gravitational force. It's the facts. Now, was there life on Earth before, well, while it was circulating Saturn? I think it was. I think it is. I think it was. But I don't know. I think it could be or could not be. Actually, I think it probably wasn't. But that's the fourth point. That's the fourth point. Because now what, now look, check it out. Do you believe that the only life is here on Earth out of all of this fucking universe? Just because of water? I don't know. Maybe not the type of life that we know it to be. Maybe not conscious thinking, living creatures, which is a stretch to assume just because of water. But water is essential. Water is essential. Now, of course, there's probably more likely other planets in the entire fucking multiverse, that is all of space, since the beginning of the emanation, that have water. Now, if those planets also have life, why not? If they got water, that's life in itself. Now, another question is, did this planet have water on it when it was circulating Saturn? They say it didn't. Right, so that's another reason why I would have to accept that it's possible that there was no life here on this planet. But in order to accept that there's no life on this planet, just because there was no water on this planet was circulating Saturn, would mean to say that there's no life without any water on whatever fuck planet it is, in whatever dimension, whatever space, part of the multiverse. Yes? which is a big assumption. Just because we don't know of any other life without the occurrence of water doesn't mean that, nigga, just being that our eyes are formatted for water type based experiences, we would even see whatever type life visually. Right? Now, either way, shit, let's keep it basic. Without water, there's no life. Hey, I like that. It's narrowing it down for me. You never know. Niggas pop out all type of doors and inside the earth and all type of crazy shit. Fucking wormholes and all type of crazy. So, without water, there's no life. Okay, we'll do that. That means that. But we can't say if it was water on the earth before it became a part of the solar system. Because even Saturn might have been circulating the sun before the earth was even circulating the sun, while the earth was circulating Saturn. Which doesn't make so much sense because, of course, if the sun is there and it's close enough to Saturn, or strong enough for Saturn to be in its orbit, then why would not the earth be also in its orbit? Well, I mean, there's always explanations for different things in life. Water or not. So, they say it wasn't no water on Earth when it was circulating Saturn. Where Saturn came the fuck from, without whatever type of other star, I don't know. We got planets in space that don't circulate fucking stars, nigga. Them shit's just floating. Now, there's a force that's got it moving. Power, fast or slow, wide or narrow. Okay? Whether that's a black hole somewhere, the center of a galaxy, which all the stars in that galaxy is actually circulating around, which also the planet will be circulating around or not, and however much it want to float or be statically just suspended or not, it's going to be connected to a point somewhere, to a point somewhere. One of these points. And each of these points is a type of point. It's either going to be a black hole, it's going to be another planet, or it's going to be a star, or it's going to be whatever else. But it's all going to have a 0-point energy center. And it's going to be strong enough and reach far enough in its motives and natural process and formula so as to include whatever is most advantageous for the moment, or not. Now, as far as where Saturn comes from, and when it met Earth, and where Earth come from, and what water got to do with life, whoever made us, either made us directly, or made something else that made us, another creature that ended up making. Okay? Some of the indigenous ancestors say, and this is all analogy, it's talking about elements, the elements of heat and illumination. Okay? It says that those things make humans. Or those names, they have some names for these ideas. We call them orishas. But they're represented as humanoid type people, but they're not necessarily only just physical beings. These are spiritual concepts. These spiritual concepts are alive within your consciousness, regardless, whatever it is that you refer to them as, because heat exists, moisture exists, light exists, and darkness exists. Okay? Space and time are all elements of existential experience. Okay? So that in itself is one key for you, not to waste time distracting yourself, ignoring niggas. Okay? Whatever you want to call it, be thinking about how they relate, and it will become apparent to you. It's inevitable. Taken from Ceremonious, the Lord, who said to myself, fuck all that, cuz I'm ready for whatever it is right now, if it's so possible for me being ready to even make a difference. And I woke up. Where did I go? Shit, man, I was on my way, bro. But I say to myself, the whole reason why I even started saying what I was saying is because I got these babies, cuz I know in my heart that that's not even a factor, so I'm making an excuse. I'm being a bitch ass nigga right now, making an excuse. And I was by the beach, and I figured there might be some priestesses with the, doing some yoni gazing, and it really was I had caught a whiff in the down draft that, and I was like, oh snap, hold on, I don't know if it's the same way, if they doing it the same way, whatever it's the fuck I was all that and going. No, I'm fucking with you. I said also though, okay, word, okay, shit, I didn't know that was gonna happen, so. Cool, no, I knew it was gonna happen, but I didn't know I knew. Okay, word, okay, I thought I was tripping. I know I ain't tripping now. But, as far as the legend goes, I'm privy to accepting that we are uniquely crafted, even in the state that we are now. But I think the state that we are now might be like a derivative of our full potential, to be honest. Okay? Now, what happened when we start changing? Well, for one, calendars was created. Calendars were created a long time ago, for one. And blood, something was going on with blood also. But I'm gonna tell you the truth right now. Them Aztecs and shit, that was after that blue-eyed person came, right? Even the legend of the plumed feather, the plumed dragon, that's supposed to be the arrival of. They say that person that they depicted in a lot of those legends was a blonde person, low key. You know what I'm saying? And now, see, I'm gonna let you know right now. A lot of this shit was made so that you can be able to say, okay, well, this is how it happened and when it happened and where. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise, it was like, you could tell by a lot that was created that they had it figured out already as to all of the possibilities. And that's really what beauty is the acceptance. Like, how do you have beauty without accepting what's beautiful or not? That's the whole point of beauty. That's why they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. As in, whatever you see as beautiful is beautiful to you in its own way. That means that there's different types of beauty. But there cannot be any beauty until at least somebody deems it that. There's always beauty, but until you acknowledge the beauty, then there's no such thing as beauty, even though there are beautiful things. Okay, so that was what all of these legends is telling you. It's giving you the story of, yeah, no, we are live here in this form, but at any given moment, we can, just like Ceremonious did that one night at the beach. I was staring up at a star without realizing it. But a part of me already knew. Right? And I was out, nigga, like they would tell you, yo, you can zoom to anywhere, especially if you already been there before. You know what I mean? If you already have been, like, take for instance, right? Like, we came from the earth, literally, like bacteria formed into sort of whatever type of water creatures, whatever with the water, one of them water creatures caught up out of the joint, you know what I'm saying? Up out of the ocean onto the land. They didn't even have to have no other person, girl, you know what I'm saying? You got some frogs in there who impregnate themselves. Okay? That mitochondrial and Eve's original woman, nigga, could have taken sperm out of her marrow just like she can to this day and impregnated herself. Okay? And ended up having a son who became her husband. Or not. Or a daughter. And then the daughter did the same thing until a boy was made. Or could have had twins and they end up fucking having, you feel me? And siblings end up having in the next generation. Came out of something. And it wasn't no man rib. It just wasn't, cuz. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. It was too, because enough niggas will tell you that that's what it was. But then not, you know what I'm saying, to do further investigation as to why it matters so much and how beautiful that is. But want to argue it's, you know what I'm saying, it's authority or whatever. Nah, bruh, I'm looking for the beauty in it. Show me how this made it possible in your life for you to do this and that, and how beautiful that is. Because whatever it is you showing me that it made it possible for it to be happening, it's losing exchange value. It's losing aesthetic, okay, allure to me. To be honest, they say TD Jakes. What now? Damn, that's scandalous, brother. You all on TV. At some point, man, you say, you know, hey, man, I got enough money, man. You know, I actually do, man. Like that. Be laying on scrotum sacks, though. You know, back in behind closed doors. So let me turn down this next deal. So I ain't got to be all on TV. Because that's not beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, could have came from a rib. Could have pushed, I mean, and shit. I don't know. This is within my gut. It's not really adding up to me. But I do think so, though, that we've always been magnificent, majestic. I think we've always been majestic. It's evident. You look at the human body today. It's majestic, cuz. Right, that's not an alien. You feel me? You think of aliens, like you look at that movie Alien, and those are like monster type joints. Like, you know what I'm saying? They look like killers, like actual like exterminators and shit, like eliminators. That actual art direction is amazing though. If you look at it, it's actually like very erotic. It's like everything is sexually formed. You know what I mean? Like even the head of the alien, it's like an actual phallus. And then like, if you look at the mouth, the jaws, it's like a fallopian and shit. Like the head is shaped like a phallus. And then the jaws come out like an erected fallopian and shit. Like that shit crazy. I love that art, man. That's some of the illest, imaginative, stylish shit, man. That shit is straight funky, homie. Snazzy shit, bro. That alien, that whole joint is amazing, homie. If you look at like all of the different backgrounds, so they're just like fixtures and shit, all of the ornamentation on the actual structures and spaceships and shit. Well, not even spaceships, but just when you get to the planet that the niggas was from and shit, or when they make their little nests or whatever within the other structures. So amazing. Like it's like all this sort of like intercourse. Everything is shaped like intercourse, like actual copulation, like, you know what I mean? Like the motion of it is all just like gyration. It's just amazing. And it's shiny and glimmery and sleek and slippery. Oh, like that a lot, man. I'm not mad at that, man, Sigourney. Yeah, man. And then Sigourney, that's the first time, you know what I'm saying, you seen the nipples, like, you know, shit. You feel me? I like Sigourney when you were nipples, guy. Alright, anyway. I do, I ain't gonna lie. I still remember him to this day. I think about him every day. Thank you, Sigourney. And Ridley Scott, who's, of course, the writer of that series. Yeah, no, we're not like aliens, cause we are in ourselves. We're alien enough. We're alien enough. We're alien enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta think, my nigga. Like, think, nigga, think. Like, what the fuck is you thinking about, okay? aliens gotta come from somewhere. We are aliens our fucking self, cuz. Even the aliens in spaceships would have had to start it somewhere, just like we fucking started somewhere, cuz. So that's sort of the situation with this whole Aeon Flux. What the nigga name is, your boy. Damn, I'm forgetting this nigga name all the time, yeah. When you get to thinking about how it's supposed to be, it's easy to forget this nigga name, because you could tell like he's just basically looks like a placard. This nigga just basically like a poster stamp in front of a real alienistic monster that's gonna pop out later. What's his nigga name, bruh? Damn, cause he own everything now. I keep forgetting it. Every time I think Aeon Flux, I'm never gonna remember this nigga name. It's so kind of like not Aeon Flux. Anyway, what is Aeon Flux? No, what's the nigga name? Oh, I'm talking about the nigga. Anyway, man, it's kind of like what they trying to push with the whole little, you know, going and seeing if we can take life somewhere else. Nah, but it's not though. Because that's all mechanical. And what we are is metaphysical. We literally are metaphysical. We're literally metaphysical. Now you could try to get all technical and act like brute force gonna get you somewhere, but you came out of that flower, nigga. And that's only gonna get you so far. Okay? Because as much as she enjoys succumbing, she also enjoys becoming. Okay? So it can't be imbalanced. It needs to be dynamic and reciprocal and retributing, you understand? Just like the real cycles of life. You know, it ain't about domination or trading dominance. It's about sharing essential, sharing aspects of necessariness. You know what I mean? Basically, however that flies, it's just gonna work itself out. You know, it's just gonna work itself out as long as you're not trying to control it. It's not about controlling it. It's about serving the fuller balance. And that's a whole nother issue in itself. It's like, how you gonna have sex with a machine? How you gonna have sex with a machine? That's not even funny. That's not funny on either side of the spectrum. We make it. If she gonna let you get involved, because she didn't have to get involved already way before that. She gonna let your ass get involved, little nigga. Especially if you would ever get involved. Because she didn't have to be involved from way before now already. But you ain't think about that though. You want to hold it against her that she would leave you out when you didn't left her out to leave you out. And you was already holding the fact that she wouldn't prefer to leave you out against her before presented her the option to leave your ass out. On top of it. Who you think made a dildo, nigga? Who you think made a vibrator? Wasn't no woman. I'm willing to bet you it wasn't no woman. I'm willing to bet you, nigga, every dollar in my pocket wasn't no woman. That's just a hunch. That's another one of them intuitions. I don't know though. There's something telling me it probably wasn't though. Low key. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong about that one, bro. I'm just assume I'm wrong about that, cuz. Yeah, I mean, so aliens came from somewhere, another planet or a wave or a plane of consciousness, and then materialized into tangible fucking electromagnetic existence. out of nowhere and don't even need a spaceship or even another planet or whatever, but even though they got spaceships or whatever, apparently. But they started somewhere, right? And they are conscious thinking beings with minds, which take brains. Or don't take brains, right? Just like our brain is only one part of our experience, okay, as souls and spirits. Now that's what any religious doctrine will tell you to begin with. Okay? To begin with. They were not going to tell you that the flesh is all of it to begin with. Right? Now that was established, right, and configured so as to slowly hypnotize your ass, basically, against your own inner knowing, right, to where you wouldn't think to say, shit, whatever it is, I'm ready for anything that's real, right? I deem it possible, just like I could pray and believe it enough, and that is enough for at least for me to get a green Cadillac, just like TD Jakes. I decide this right now, okay? Through the power of prayer, whether God exists or not. But I ain't gonna say you don't or you do. I'm just gonna say, in case it should. Just like TD Jakes, but not like TD Jakes, not like TD Jakes. I guess not. No, I guess apparently not like TD Jakes. No. My fault. Damn. Oh, damn. I'm glad I had thought of that before all of this other shit came to light and shit. This nigga's all on TV and all this extra shit. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I gotta have my own personal relationship with love and life and truth and reality. Got to. And the reality of it is, somebody made the aliens. Something made the aliens. And if it was nothing that made the aliens, that means that it's all open. And that's just that much more important for us to evolve our own motherfucking self. Right? So either way, whether it is a creator up there or in there, that means that there's a pattern to this. And that's why they want to put a book out there that's going to explain it to you. Yes, because they, first of all, maybe they feel like they got to figure it out. Well, then that wouldn't explain why they would lie about Benjamin Franklin discovering electricity and Isaac Newton discovering gravity, when those both already existed before the Bible and whatever other books, and was already described as well as elaborated upon in explicit detail. Even in the hieroglyphics it was. Now see, the hieroglyphics though, they couldn't burn those hieroglyphics. they couldn't confiscate and smuggle the volumes of those hieroglyphics and put them underneath the Vatican in a library vault. Right? As far as the instructions, as far as the real, what an actual function of light and creating light even without electricity or electromagnetic sources. Yes? See, the thing is this, right? All it is that's happening is creating something called death. It literally is. But even beyond just the demise of the physical body, it's creating this realm of basically reverse imagination. All right. Now, whatever aliens is, not all of them are physical. You know, aliens are angels. Angels are aliens. You could say that, low key, from another dimension. Mutiwap, heaven is another dimension. It could be possible. That's what they try to say in this new case, right? This whole government court case where the niggas who was working with the government, the CIA, actually got proof of these spaceships and these aliens and how they can infiltrate your mind and actually think for you or put thoughts in your mind. That's what these niggas are saying. This is what they say in the court of law. These niggas is in a court lawsuit admitting to having proof of evidence of this occurring, and that the niggas seeing the spaceships flying around and all this extra shit, yo, for years. having countless reports of these things. Nobody was talking about that as much as they was talking about Trump grabbing bitches by the pussy. Nobody's talking about that as much as they was talking about whatever other scandal was happening at the time. And that's fucking retarded to me. Because it's like, why would you just assume that it's propaganda, that it's not true? Like, why would anybody ever say that if it wasn't true? That's conversation worthy in itself. As to why, if it's not true, that somebody would say that it was true. It's worth getting to the bottom of, cuz. But, hey, that was then. Ain't nobody said nothing else about that. That was just an example I'm giving you as far as how there could be, influences, or rather, what I was talking about aliens, about how we aliens, and how, like, okay, as far as the hieroglyphics, and there being proof of, you know, alternatives to electricity already, and natural power already, aside from whatever they're going to try to debut later in the coming future. Just like they say with Tesla and the whole little generators and shit, how you got people in Africa now creating generators out of debris and salvaged, you know, components that regenerates itself, kind of like the universe. That is endless. That is an endless source of power. You know what I'm saying? Source batteries that you don't need no gas. It's just work off of centrifugal motion and all those other things, and it actually gets stronger the longer it's running. Yeah, they didn't want to snatch them patents up because they paid them broke ass fucking Africans not even billions of dollars for that, cuz. They own it now, cuz. The same niggas who control the weather, cuz. With HARP. Which is a metal beam going all the way to the core of the earth, family. Or close enough to it to where they can actually just tweak the weather now. They own those patents to them African geniuses' epiphanies, nigga. Why? Because they broke out there, cuz. $2 million, nigga, is unheard of. Which is why they would be thinking to themselves, well, shit, man, we need power, cuz. We need light out here. It's dark in the daytime over here. How can we make endless power, cuz? Shit, I'm gonna figure this shit out. It's the last thing I do, cuz. Swoop. You ain't just heard shit else about that, cuz. Clean seawater, cuz. Make clean water out of seawater, cuz. Huh? Word. What is niggas waiting on for that, cuz? They waiting for these nanomolecules, nigga, to take effect is what the fuck niggas waiting on. They waiting for TD Jakes, nigga, to get up off his porch, nigga. They waiting for us to ask questions about what happened with them aliens that was supposed to have been popping in and out of niggas' heads and shit. Is what they're waiting on, I think. So, you go back to where we come from. We come from God. That's where we come from. That's where we come from. Okay? Now, either aliens exist or they don't. Okay? It's either aliens in the center of the earth, or it's original Earth is in the center of the earth. Okay? Now, this is why all this shit is very interesting. This is why all this is very interesting. Because aliens ain't supposed to exist, according to God. Okay? So, that's just why it's interesting. Now, niggas be lying about shit, but if they lying about, who's to say what they lying about? Which one they lying about? Who to say which is a lie? They can't both be true. And niggas ain't got shit to say about it. You got all the shit to say about other shit though, like, that's just wild to me. So, you gotta think though, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta think though, we gonna become something, or we gonna die with the earth. But that's not what's gonna happen with us. Even if we have to go even if we have to let it go another way to where now we got these other type humans doing other type shit, right? Just like in Star Wars, yes? We got the Jedi and the Sith, yes? We got the Jedi and the Sith, yes? That's kind of like sort of how it is. I think that these white folks is gonna bounce. That's what they're trying to do, like I said last time. But not all of them gonna bounce, first of all. And apparently they trying to take other niggas with them. Well, they doing shit to fuck around with other niggas too, who not bouncing was the part. Now, it's only gonna last for so long, right? Because of course, there's actual fucking real monsters inside of the earth, for one, who are not susceptible to nanomolecules, and that's why they made us. You understand? It's coming together for you. Whether they still in the earth or not, nigga. Whether it was actually that they actually indeed did make us or not. For whatever reason, it definitely got something to do with what is going on. Now, how much it has to do with it, and how much it's supposed to have to do with it, is what to answer.